Hello YouTube, this is Ebon Kim again. I want to keep this segment a little bit short. I've had a long 2 days. A friend visited yesterday and today. We talked a lot about sports and politics, watched the Super Bowl of course. I also have the pimple here still. I'm wearing a musty old shirt. I didn't really take a shower in 2 days, so I feel like what I'm saying is better than how I look saying it. So without further ado, I found something while I was watching Redacted Tonight with Lee Camp. Go ahead and you should subscribe and watch his shows. And I'm just going to play it for you so you can see it.
We're going to start with Iraq, and then we're going to move to Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Iran.
All right!
Alright, so he kind of lists 6 of the 7 of the countries listed in the current immigration ban that Donald Trump's executive order referred to, and I'm against pretty much the ban, any ban. So I don't really want to dive too much into it. I kind of wanted to go in more depth in the future about why those particular 7 countries, but I think there's a lot of independent media and even some corporate media that's really actually looking into why those specific 7 countries. And I guess if people have trouble finding details about it, I might look into it. What I want to actually do is, after watching that episode with Lee Camp, I want to look for the source of that video. And I actually came across this Democracy Now! With Amy Goodman, and she's interviewing General Wesley Clark. This happened on March 2nd, 2007, and I just want you to listen to a snippet. Of course, you can look at all the videos that I reference in below the description of my video. I source all my videos and websites that I show. So, without further ado.
Well, for the rest of the hour, we'll hear General Wesley Clark in his own words on the possibility of a U.S. attack on Iran, the impeachment of President Bush, the use of cluster bombs, the bombing of radio television Serbia during the Kosovo War under his command, and much more. I interviewed General Clark on Tuesday at the 92nd Street Y in New York. Now let's talk about Iran. You have a whole website devoted to stopping war.
www.stopiranwar.com.
Do you see a replay of what happened in the lead up to the war with Iraq? The allegations of the weapons of mass destruction, the media leaping on to the bandwagon.
Well, in a way, but history doesn't repeat itself exactly twice. What I did warn about when I testified in front of Congress in 2002, I said, if you want to worry about a state, it shouldn't be Iraq, it should be Iran. But this government, our administration, wanted to worry about Iraq, not Iran. I knew why, because I'd been through the Pentagon right after 9/11. About 10 days after 9/11, I went through the Pentagon and I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the Joint Staff who used to work for me, and one of the generals called me in. He said, "Sir, you got to come in. You got to come in and talk to me a second." I said, "Well, you're too busy." He said, "No." He says, "We've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq." This was on or about the 20th of September. I said, "We're going to war with Iraq. Why?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "I guess they don't know what else to do." So I said, "Well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda?" He said, No. He says, "There's nothing new that way. They just made the decision to go to war with Iraq." He said, "I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we've got a good military and we can take down governments." And he said, "I guess if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem has to look like a nail." So I came back to see him a few weeks later, and by that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, "Are we still going to war with Iraq?" And he said, "Oh, it's worse than that." He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, and he said, I just got this down from upstairs," meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today, and he said, "This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran." I said, "Is it classified?" He said, "Yes, sir." I said, "Well, don't show it to me." And I saw him a year or so ago, and I said, "You remember that?" He said, "Sir, I didn't show you that memo. I didn't show it to you."
I'm sorry, what did you say his name was?
I'm not going to give you his name.
Alright, so you can go and see the rest of the video. There's also a transcript and some snippets that you can also view. So when you can read here, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off with Iran. That's 6 of the 7 countries that are on the DHS announcement list. And I'll go ahead and reference the DHS list again in case you can't remember. You can even always look it up. His announcement 18, 2016. And you can look at it here at the DHS.gov site. And you'll see that there's Libya, Somalia, and Yemen. And then there's also Iraq, Iran, Sudan, and Syria. So 6 of the 7 lists of the country that Wesley Clark was talking about in 2007 interview, where I think he was talking to this person in September 20th of 2002, I believe. Sorry, I might be wrong with that, but you can always look into it, which is what I want you to do. And then he mentioned stopiranwar.com. I briefly read through it, but not every link. I'm going to have to spend some time one day to actually look through everything and see if I could glean any information with what's going on now or what's been going on in the last couple of years. One last thing I guess I could talk about. I really want to talk about more important things right now, but one of them is this whole thing that I saw by just investigating through the internet, I guess you could say. So there is a lot of talk about that they're going to allow, let's see, here it says, to prioritize refugee claims made by individuals on the basis of religious-based persecution, provided that the religion of the individual is a minority religion in the individual's country of nationality. So depending on so right now, those 7 countries on the list are majority Muslim. So pretty much anyone that's not is not a Muslim would have preference. Although the list isn't finalized because the Department of Homeland Security has until February 27th to come up with a more updated list. What I'm guessing is there's going to be a lot more countries in that list. There's probably going to be even countries where the majority religion, maybe at least just one, the majority of the religion for a country listed isn't going to be Muslim. It'll be like something other than Muslim. Because then when people are trying to fight this immigration ban, that they're going to say, well, look, this country is majority Catholic or majority Christian, whatever. So, it's letting Muslims through, so it's not a Muslim ban. That's probably going to be their strategy, so that's something you might have to look out for. But if you're going to fight this, you're really going to have to wait until February 27th until a new list comes up. All right, so this is kind of it as far as I want to talk about the travel, immigration ban, whatever you want to call it, until I just kind of read up more onto this. All right, I'll move on from the next segment in just a bit.